All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to your Wednesday. Feeling refreshed, recharged, hopefully ready to go. Took a little bit of a break there yesterday. Felt a little bit exhausted. Wore my 2 losing days pretty hard, and yeah, I just didn't really like myself too much Monday evening. But yeah, back at it here. Spent a little bit of time kind of just chilling yesterday. Honestly, sleeping, relaxing, vegging out, watching some YouTube shorts. Not a very productive day, but I think one that I needed. And yeah, hopefully, right, markets show us a little bit of volatility here today and give us a bit of action. Now, even though yesterday was a reasonable move here to the downside, like when I looked at this, I reckon I probably would have been stopped out on these moves before it broke down either way, right? Um, Maybe on this aggressive technique, you could have made maybe a bit of cash or something like that. But don't really think that there was a particularly easy move for us in play there yesterday. And so the objective here a little bit, right, is to ensure that that easy move or to be able to take advantage of it. I had a little bit of I don't know what you want to call it necessarily, a view into my future here a little bit yesterday, or thought about what I wanted or things along those lines. And like trading for me is the core foundation, or it's the thing that I want the most. And so yeah, finding ways to continue to do this at a high level is always the obsession, or always sort of the target. And I have a few things in mind that might potentially make all of our lives hopefully easier, hopefully a little bit more profitable. Um, and yeah, that might be the project here for the next like 6 months or so. So I don't know, maybe makes me a little bit of a sicko to take a day off and just spend the day planning my next 6 months of work. But here we are anyway. And yeah, let's get after it a little bit this morning. So, first things first, right? We're going to still be creeping up towards that Jackson Hole symposium. I think we're going to expect a reasonable amount of volatility based off of that going into Friday. And then, PMI tomorrow, right, should also be something that potentially gets in the way. So let's see, basically, we can get a clean story. Yesterday's volume, or yesterday's breakdown, I think was maybe the kind of the sweet spot you'd probably want to be for a continuation move. It's not so aggressive that it's like a natural capitulation type setup. And it's not such a big move that it's like panic at the disco type thing. I think that there's a little bit of an opportunity for there to still be some volatility in play here today. But the VIX being at 15.68 maybe changes things a little bit, or like dampens some of that enthusiasm. I saw a lot of pessimism maybe yesterday on social media, or like on some of like the CNBC type shows, right? A lot of like bear market talk and how new highs are set, whatever. I don't know if that's the case, right? I don't think anyone really truly knows. So we're not going to get too carried away there, but the maybe shift social media wise, and like media wise, just in general, traditional media wise, maybe a little bit more pessimistic than I would have expected on what has so far felt like a reasonably healthy pullback. So let's see if that basically skepticism is warranted here. And yeah, let's set ourselves up. From there, obviously, still going to be reasonably aggressive in trading, right? Going to look to trade my strategy. Going to look to be a little bit patient, but I have a few kind of like internal, we'll call it shot clock type things I'm going to try to be really focusing on. And then today's objective, right? I'm not necessarily trying to catch a move from start to finish here today. I want to just get into the habit of stacking up base hits, right? Racking up, getting on base, building up a little bit of that confidence, getting a little bit of that momentum back, and then building out from there. So not to say that today is necessarily going to be a very, very quick trading day, but expect a lot of quick decisions, right? If I'm feeling as if I don't like the way the trade is moving, I'm not going to hesitate on it and sit. I'm just going to get out. That's really what the objective is here today. So I'm going to be aggressive in that context, not necessarily in placing a billion trades. All right. So ES, we've got a little 3 for 3 here to the downside. And so that does sort of limit my bullish narrative here. We're going to go NA on the bull case. And we're looking right for downside continuation. 64.10 seems to be kind of a reasonable starting point here. Right. And then we can get down to like maybe we're about 1% of implied range. So 1% from open would be like 63.70. I think that's a pretty reasonable target for us. If we can get more than that, happy days. But I wouldn't like bank on it, or I wouldn't expect that to be the base scenario here this morning. All right. NQ, a little bit better volume profile, probably a bit more of a dramatic crack there, right? 3 for 3 to the downside for sure. And again, right, this is an NA scenario. And then target wise, 23,200, 22.9, I think would probably be the starting point here. And then, like I said, 22.9 would be the kind of final level. All right, sweet. CL, so roll should be done out of the way. We should be trading now the October contract, no longer the September, so should be fine. Post roll inside bar there. Just looking for an inside bar breakout. I'm still getting used to this keyboard. Okay. And then we're looking above 63 or under 61.50. Oh my gosh. So 60. Is 63. Yeah. All right. 63.50. 64. Oh, there's just keyboard driving me nuts. And then maybe up towards like 66. Why is it? Yeah. There we go. All right. And then to the downside here, we're looking for an ORB fake out, then break down. And we're pushing under 61.50, right? That's our target here. And then to the lows, 5%, we're not going to be really too bothered by that here today, or I'd be surprised, but we'd be looking at, say, like $59, right, is our target here. Again, if we get there, happy days. If not, no worries. All right, sweet. Okay, Apple 3 for 3 here to the downside. Not as much volume as we saw in the index, quite a bit less volume. Tesla 3 for 3 to the downside. Again, quite a bit less volume than what we saw on NQ. Microsoft, red candle, decreasing volume, gap down. So 2 out of 3 to the downside without. Amazon 3 for 3, kind of a weak 3 for 3, right? That volume is still pretty light. Okay, NVIDIA, here's the catalyst, right? 3 for 3. Big volume creeping up into its earnings next week. AMD, 3 for 3 to the downside. Took the long way around there. All right, Meta, 2 out of 3 to the downside without volume. Okay, Netflix, technically a 3 for 3, but this is setting up as an inside bar. And I'm saying that just because yesterday, big range on Netflix, opening up in the kind of quote unquote implied middle. It's got to go quite a bit higher to break out. It's got to go quite a bit lower, right, to break down. And then Google, again, kind of a weak 3 for 3 to the downside. Honestly, a little bit surprised by some of the volume on our leading names. I kind of expected them to maybe be a bit more enthusiastic or to have like a bit more oomph there. That might slow things down here a bit this morning, potentially, or at least that could be sort of the initial story, right, that we want to be aware of. So let's see, right? Basically, we want to make sure that the enthusiasm returns here this AM. If it does, we'll have some joy. If it doesn't, then we'll be chilling. So, yeah. So I don't know. Any questions here, team? Anything you guys are stuck on? How's everyone feeling this morning? All right, perfect. So I'm just gonna go pour my cup of coffee here, get ready for hopefully should be a good day, and then be back at it in just a couple minutes here, team. So just bear with me. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, I'm feeling good, team. Feeling good, ready to go. And let's see how the basic day shapes up, right? Is the objective here. Oh, it's been like uncharacteristically cold. It's August 20th, and I'm not drinking iced coffee. So take of that what you will, but hopefully we're ready for what should be an interesting trading day. 30 seconds here till market open. So let's see basically where things show up, right, or where momentum is in play here this morning. My objective, or I would say, kind of the theme I have a little bit here. I've been kind of ranting and raving about like a lunatic over the last week or so here has basically just been like there's a certain, or I feel maybe like a certain pressure to show up every single day, be here every single day, like that availability. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think the consistency is very important. I think it's something that I should be embracing and like willing to really focus on, and it's something that I value a lot. but I also think that it's okay to take breaks and to like be maybe a little bit more selfish in that context. So if markets aren't behaving the way that I expect, or we're not getting the action we want, or we're not getting the moves that I want, I'm not just gonna be here for appearance's sake, if that makes sense, right? So, kind of the theme I want to execute a little bit here is just giving this all my energy, all my enthusiasm when things are really good, and then recharging, rebuilding mental energy if markets aren't great, and basically just not forcing anything. We're getting such a summary slow market that I think it's really easy to just get to a point of exhaustion and to just like lose some of that mental capital. And so objective here, continue to be a little bit more aggressive in protecting that. I don't see a ton of reasons why things would change besides that. But just excuse me, just learning how to protect myself kind of from myself, right? And some of my tendencies has to be the objective. And objectively, I trade better when I don't feel burnt out and exhausted. I think that's the case for every single person here. And with trading, I think we all love it, right? And we're all very passionate about it. And we love coming here and trading every morning. But I think that passion can hide a lot of symptoms of burnout, or of working too hard, or of just like being tired. And when we ignore those, we don't trade our best regardless. And I think it's kind of like a lie we tell ourselves, like, oh, I'll just work through it, I'll get through it. And that's not necessarily the case or the reality. So I think that's probably why, right? Like why I rode 2 red days so much harder, or why I was so like annoyed with myself, is because when you are at that point where you're feeling exhausted and you probably know you should take a break, or like it's time to celebrate a little bit after what's been a pretty good summer, you then make some mistakes and like you cost yourself some money. That makes you feel, oh man, like why didn't I just listen to myself, right? Type sensation. And I think that's where the frustration came from on my end. There on Monday. So hopefully smooth trading day here, but I've identified that as kind of like my blinders to a certain extent, and gonna try to be a little bit more proactive in managing that. So appreciate everyone obviously reaching out and the kind messages and everything along those lines. And apologize for being such just a grumpy little prick. It's generally not the place where I want to be as a trader. All right, so enough of that, enough of the past. Let's focus on futures here now. And so far, kind of so slow. Decent sized ranges, maybe not quite as big as yesterday. Yesterday was like in the 100-point category. This should be reasonable. And CL's maybe the most likely to give me that increasing volume here. We'll keep an eye on that, but crude always want to be a little bit more patient with. Yeah, hopefully this momentum continues, but good 3 for 3s, right? So we're being told trending price action here to the downside. So hopefully a nice continuation narratives in play here today. Okay, CL stalling a little bit. And Q with kind of a little bit of sneaky consolidation. Same thing with ES, but a bit more of a fake out potentially. Interesting. I mean, crude's doing okay. Yesterday was like just like pure inside bar PA. And for me, the worst type of price action is increasing volume consolidation. It's kind of like, I think, the biggest oxymoron, right, in trading. So that's theoretically not terrible. I wish that candle was maybe a little bit of a stronger shape. And then now, right, trying to see if we can get some increasing volume here on some of these cracks lower. And yeah, so far so slow. We're 8 minutes in. I don't need to get too carried away here. Huh. There's your volume. There's your strong candle shape. Heck, why isn't crude moved? There we go. It would have to look like that. This is your like setup one, right? Maybe failed because of candle shape. Here's your candle shape, still with really good volume. Maybe just a little bit late on this now. Reference price, if you went like previous high of day or confirmation, or sorry, opening range high, that'd be maybe reasonable. Honestly, might just be missing it here now. It's not quite in play on the 3 min, or sorry, on the 5 min. It might set back up on the 3 here in a minute. We should get increasing volume again. Same thing potentially on the indexes here. We maybe have a chance for a breakdown lower. I would probably prefer that trade. So let's keep an eye here. Big minute to go. Okay, so 30 seconds here. We should be at increasing volume now. NQ a little bit better, more outlier than ES, but ES should get the outlier as well. And then CL looking pretty sharp, largest volume of the day. Let's keep an eye on that candle close. Again, I think priority would be trading the indexes here lower. I think that's the easier setup a little bit. Reasonable close. So 50 to 36, that's reasonable, 14 points. Okay, so just wait a sec, right? See where it establishes itself. If we're going to go aggressive, entry target would be there. If we're going to go pull back, entry target would be like, I'll just say opening range low. $86 to 62, that's 26 points. Is that correct? Not 16. Oh, no. Okay, so I'm going to push it up a little bit. Okay, stop loss would be 386. I just missed that. Let's see. Okay, CL would have been a fake out. And if this doesn't give me an entry here on the 3, it should set back up here on the 5. I do think I might have just missed my entry though, truth be told. Yeah, so let's see if this thing behaves on the 5. Shame. Yeah, so still watching here. And this is going to go increasing volume as well by the looks of it. So I can still just play this on the 3, not much of a change. Same, it's going to be the same stop loss on the 3 and the 5. Okay, so let's see if it establishes a little bit of support here. That seems really tight of a amount of risk. 326 would be the stop loss. Wow. Didn't even give me a chance, just instantly. Okay, so watch again for this gentle pullback here. If it's going to pull back into like 315 or better, just be a little bit patient, right? It might then give us a little bit of an overreaction move. Oh, man. All right, wait this out a minute 50. That's really annoying. Okay, 30 seconds to go. Anyone get on any of those initial entries? Nice, good job, team. Let's go, guys. Nice work. All right, so we're still in play here. I'd be targeting 200 at this point, though, right? Not 223. Not a huge difference, all things considered, but worth noting. Probably looking at the pullback right now. And so we'd be looking 301 as like a bare minimum. I'd probably want to go a little bit higher here. Hey, I love that, Logan. That's smart. Let's go, Aj. Nice work. Good job, team. Could theoretically be in play for the aggressive, but not by much. 100% Kiki, yeah. But it is and it isn't, right? Generally, it's a little bit that easy, but we've had 1% move day over the entire summer, right? So historically, a little bit easier than what it has been this summer, maybe not so much. It's the way it goes, though, right? We don't make money in a straight line as much as I would like to. That's the way it goes. All right. So watching here, potentially, right? 297 would be the stop loss. 23,297. Again, one contract here. I need to pull back 274, which again doesn't seem like it's going to happen. 5 min, I can do it as well. Increasing volume, you'd be looking at a 267 stop loss. And then we're looking for a gentle pullback into that like 260 area. But again, seems like things just want to run without me here a little bit. Okay, so as this thing pulls back here, just be a little bit patient, right? Be a little bit patient here as this thing pulls back. If we miss the move, doesn't mean we have to chase it. All right, CL, you temperamental prick. All right. So, I mean, I'd be probably looking at 2 or 3 contracts here. 140 a contract. I don't think I'm going to get that entry, though, realistically. Brutal. It's a little bit funny. But like some of the bad habits I maybe traded with on Monday would have been rewarded here on Wednesday. Funny how that works. We're back within potentially 1 contract distance here. Okay, ES, interesting. And Q should get increasing volume here as well, which would give us a target towards 23.1. Let's see. Whoa. Crazy straight line. Okay, back to looking on the 3. All right. 191 would be the stop loss. So 23, 191. And you're looking 178 or better. You'd be looking at 2 contracts here potentially. And just be patient, right? If this thing pulls back, we've still got, I mean, we're 20 seconds away from this 5 min, so that's also in play. So I'm just going to wait the extra 5 seconds right around this. This might give me a little bit of a catalyst here. Okay, there's your potential little fake out. So now we're looking 199 stop loss. Just be patient here for a second. Let it reject, right? Let it reject. 203 now. Okay, better. So we're looking at just one contract here now, realistically, unless I can get a really deep pullback. Be patient, be patient. Okay, guys, I am in. Average price 187. 187. I have two contracts here, maybe a little bit too much sizing, and this thing is dumped right away. So I've closed, guys. I've closed this trade there at 150. I have closed this trade at 150, 187 to 150, two contracts, all out, very quick. Is that clear? Yeah. I mean, I made money on that, right? Made a little bit of money on that. No complaints. That was 30 points in 5 seconds. Yes, Kiki. Good job. Well done. Let's freaking go. Again, really good decision there, team. Really, really good decision. I'm stoked with that. That felt really good, right? Yeah, sorry about that. That was very quick, but the quickness, I think, was justified. So I'm sorry about that. But let's go, team. Good job. Really good bounce back here. Did paid off, and we didn't. Well, at least I stuck to my plan, right? Pre-market, I said I want to be out in and out quickly here today, right? I don't want to allow emotional capital to get built up in trades. I think we executed that perfectly, right? Relative to that. And yeah, sorry about that, Mike. It's kind of a little bit damned if you do, damned if you don't here. Like, I didn't get my fill up at 364. I got my fill at 187. Kind of shit luck sometimes. But I'll take that, guys. 1549.96. That's a good win. Very, very good patience here today. All right, see if something else is in store here. Yeah, thank Christ we have that bounce and volatility. We need that. Okay, I mean, we have a chance potentially on some of these 10 mins, maybe even this 15 min, right, to keep trading here a little bit. So let's see what's in store. At some point, though, might be reasonable for the indexes to want to like chill the fuck out a little bit, for lack of a better term. This has effectively just been only red candles here to the downside. So we basically want to make sure that's not just our luck, right? That the second we play another setup, it's a reversal. So let's again be very, very patient here. Yeah, good question, Igor. I would say no at this point. And I would say no for I would say very selfish reasons, right? To a certain extent, more than anything. One, strategy probably tells me no, not to, right? If markets are trending lower and we're seeing 3 for 3 counts and we're seeing big sell-offs here, I'm just getting confirmation, right, that it is a bearish market, right? Or it's a downtrend, or it's whatever you want to call it. The other element here now is I'm up pretty nicely on the day, right? So I wouldn't want to go counter trend to try to catch a move. I'd like to go trend continuation or be done. That would be more the narrative that I'd be willing to kind of fall in love with. We maybe have a scenario here on the pullback technique. Now, I would like to see it above 30. I would like to see it more in like the 250 range, see how it basically reacts to a pullback into that area, which would be a very big one, right? Which maybe wouldn't necessarily be super possible or super likely here yet. But there is I don't know, a little part of me here, guys, that thinks, hey, it's 10 a.m. We've all pretty much made money here, I think, so far this morning. And good money, right? All things considered. So I don't know how much value there is in pressing and being too aggressive. Like, I think from a mental capital perspective, so far today has been a day that has built positive mental capital. So giving that up, I don't know if it's worth it. I'm up effectively 3R. Hard to want to ignore that. So going to be patient here for a little bit, right? Give the market 10, 15 minutes to digest basically the sell-off that we've seen here. See maybe an attempt from bulls to reclaim control. If those bulls fail, maybe we have a second leg here. But all things considered, we're pretty close to that 1% down already. So I don't want to be like too aggressive chasing this lower. I think considering how quickly that most recent trade moved and how aggressively it moved, probably isn't too much value in being hyper aggressive. And I think there's a certain ego element to me here. I've not had a 3-day losing streak all year. I don't want to keep that up, right? I can kind of ensure that that is a guarantee here, walking away. And so I think there's value in that as well. Now, I'd have to do something really, really stupid. Hey, Doug, that's exactly what we're looking for, man. That's fantastic. Congratulations, dude. Yeah, you got the fill that I just missed on that initial trade. And you exited pretty much perfect, dude. So congratulations. 210 points. Are you freaking kidding me? That's incredible, man. Yeah, I'm thinking a little bit of that too here, Mike. Now, I'll stick around and watch a little bit, but Top Step X has had some issues here recently, Brady. It's been a bit of a pain in the ass. What I would recommend is instead of clicking the X button, just submitting a market order or a limit order and having that ready the opposite side, right? So if you're short there, having a buy to close order set up and ready to go and using that submit button tends to be a little bit of a workaround. But the shot back to entry price would have probably been about 35, maybe 40 seconds. So yeah, the technical glitch, definitely a pain in the ass. Chase up Top Step about it. But there should have been enough time to basically have a workaround there. All right. So again, potentially setting back up here. Okay. Okay. Not enough volume there. So just as a general rule of thumb, team in general, right? If a breakdown happens faster than you expect, and I think that trade for sure would qualify as that. We sold off, 50 points in 30 seconds. Um, if a move happens faster than you expect, take it and run, right? Let's go, Eric. Good job. Love to see the team winning here today. So I'll share with you guys a little story here, or a glimpse into my life. So yesterday, right, didn't trade. Took like the we'll call it a mental health day, whatever. Ended up being a torture session for me because I ended up going for a run, and I was like, all right, I had a frustrating day. Like the only thing that's going to make me feel better is running hills. So found a mountain and just started running up, and I ran to this trail called Rainbow Lake. There's a glacier lake in the Alpine at the top of this trail, and it's like 6 kilometers up and 6 kilometers down, and something like 1,800 meters of elevation. I ended up running the up down twice yesterday, and it was because when I got to the top and I checked my phone and I was like looking what markets were doing, it was just like a free fall lower and a dump lower. And I was like, all right, I got to get into the torture chamber. So I ended up doing, all right, Logan, something like 10 miles and 5,000 feet of elevation each way. I ended up doing something like 20 miles, 10,000 feet of elevation yesterday. And like I got home and I was sitting on the couch. My legs were just shaking. Again, we might be setting back up here. Okay, so we'd be looking for a move towards 23,000 right on this. So you be patient a little bit, right? Just be a little bit patient. I would expect things to get a little bit more fake outy here now, because that's kind of what we saw on our most recent trade, right? It was kind of like quick little breakdown lower, then fake out, then breakdown. So just probably expect that to be the case until proven otherwise here now. The thing that probably bothers me the most is that it's the fake out under 23.1. It's the fake out under the psychological level and pullback. I would say that that's probably the biggest pain in the butt here about this setup, or like the reason why I could talk myself out of this super easily. Still theoretically justifiable, I guess, from a risk reward perspective, but barely. Uh, um, just thinking here is like I think DTR needs to get we need a Snickers sponsorship, or I think because they had that like commercial, right? You're not you when you're hungry, and it's like Snickers is the anecdote to that. I feel like yeah, I need that too. Like if you're not a good trader when you're burnt out, you're not a good trader when you're tired, and just like thinking that it's probably not a huge surprise that I have a really good trading day, good P&L day after taking a day off. I think that that's a surprise. And I don't think that today would have been as successful had I not taken yesterday off. And I don't think I would have made money yesterday. Like I need to remind myself these things because yeah, like I said, I feel very guilty not watching the market sometimes, but trading it when you're not feeling sharp doesn't make you a better trader. It actually makes you significantly worse. And so I need to remember that a little bit more. I think we all need to remember that a little bit more. Logan, if you get yourself or if you get DTR Snickers deal, I'll make sure there's a nice kickback for you in it. Don't worry. So yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna try to be a little bit more selfish and just protecting my time in market here a little bit. When I'm feeling tired, just having the courage to say I need a break, take the day off, and get back to trading. I don't yeah, I don't think anyone enjoys trading with me when I'm burnt out. I don't think I enjoy trading when I'm burnt out. And not to do a victory lap or anything along those lines here today. So I got some work to do. But yeah, I want to be a little bit more obsessive over protecting over that. I feel like that's like the main perk about being self-employed is being able to control that a little bit better. I gotta take advantage of that. I'm not working for Peter DePutron anymore. And like yeah, I talk a big game, but however pestering and annoying and whatever you guys think you might be here sometimes, I promise you, it is nothing what it was like to deal with Peter. Peter would be, so we had a rule at the fund where you had to respond to Peter's email within 3 hours of getting it. And 3 hours was like, you're an asshole if you took that long type thing, right? And so that meant you had to respond pretty much as soon as you got it, right? That was like the base expectation. But if you didn't do it within 3 hours, you're going to call into the office. And that's fine. Generally not an issue. But when, Peter's in Singapore or he's in Australia or, he was somewhere else or Dubai or whatever, he'd be sending you these emails at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever. You'd have to wake up middle of the night, respond to his email, make sure you don't get anything wrong, and then go back to bed, right? So you get an email, you wake up, you guys think 30 minutes, okay, how am I going to respond to this? Submit it, and then you got 2 hours before you got to wake up to go to work, and you're like, oh man, this is going to be the worst 2 hours sleep of my life. So nothing will ever be that bad again. And yeah, that's something I should be extremely grateful for. Things could be a lot worse. Could be a billionaire's bitch still. uh I sure remember one of the Christmas parties one year. My buddy Bilal, really nice guy, like, unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, but um, yeah, he was, I mean, really funny dude, and he'd be emailing Peter a lot, and it'd always be like updating him on tech stuff and oh, we've done this, upgraded, here's the P&L impact, whatever, stuff like that. And you'd probably be emailing him for like 16 months before he met him for the first time. And then it was at the Christmas party. And Bilal goes up to Peter and he introduces himself. And he thought, like, oh, we've got all this rapport. We've been talking all this time on email. Like, this guy must know who I am. And Peter asked him, hey, oh, like, welcome. When'd you start? You've only been here a couple weeks, right? And he just had no idea who the guy was. And I always think about that and I laugh because it's like, oh my gosh, like, what an asshole. Just makes me laugh. Yeah, we're looking for some increasing volume here. Oh man, it must have been terrible. Yeah. Naturally, everyone made fun of him for it for the next 6 months. Told him he's got to start sending his picture with his email signature. They would do shit like that, right? Like year 5, my bonus meeting year 5, they tried to say that I'd only been working there 2 years just to like see how I'd react. They did a bunch of shit like that all the time. So many mind games. Um, I do sometimes miss it, Igor. Yeah. Nah, enjoy your day. $1,200. Go enjoy your day. What are you thinking? There's no guarantee that it's gonna ride all the way back up, right? Market's been trending lower here all day. Don't try to be like, don't try to catch a falling knife here. I don't think it's worth it. You know what I miss, Igor? Um, I miss constantly having access to people who were much smarter than me. So all like the quants and like the portfolio managers and the people in really high positions, they were all freaking geniuses. Like double PhDs, and it's like a PhD in computer science and mathematics, right? Like these guys would be freaks. Um, and so I miss getting to basically pester those people with questions. So from like a get better perspective, there's a certain element of me that still thinks that my learning curve would speed up if I just had unfiltered access to them. For sure. The other thing I miss is I miss the energy of a trading desk. There's like a certain level of I don't know, like I probably imagine what it's um like it kind of felt like being in a sports locker room um or like I don't know, maybe being part of like a military unit or whatever. Like there's kind of a band of brothers type element, right, to the trading desk. There's like a very, yeah, everyone was for sure locked in and stuff like that, but there was also like a gallows humor about it and kind of like a banter on the desk that like that energy is really hard to replicate. like the energy of walking into a trading desk on a busy trading day where everyone is making money. That is a really, really cool feeling. I miss that. So I think what it is, right, is as a trader, you look at things in just like a different light, or you look at things from a different context. When you talk to someone who's a quant, or they're looking at different strategies, or their mandate is more like 365 days out versus 365 minutes out, you get a different perspective, right? And you notice maybe things that are in your blinders that maybe you didn't appreciate. So you just get different perspectives, right? And people will challenge your thoughts. You get to challenge people, and they don't like succumb or fold to the pressure, because they're like, no, I'm smarter than you. So like if you're gonna try to like test them and you're gonna try to push them, you have to really pay attention. And I miss that part of things to a certain extent. Now, like there's a flip side to it, right? Like um they would, the quants, they knew that they were special. They knew that they were um like really smart, and so sometimes there would be like kind of like douchey and obnoxious ones and things like that. But there were a few guys that I got really close with, and would take for beers and go for lunch with, and shoot the shit with, and those conversations were very like intellectually stimulating. And I think from their end too, they appreciated it because they didn't have such a short term focus. They were always testing and looking things at big picture. And the fun stuff would be like a lot of the really, really fun days that I would think about would be like, okay, we expected this to happen, this happened, you traded this way. Oh, actually, we didn't realize this. We can fix this, right? And we can make it more efficient short term and long term. And just like finding those little wins was super rewarding. So yeah, I do miss that to a certain extent. Um, yeah, I also miss bonus season. Bonus season was really, really fun. Always going into the office, figuring out what number they were going to be giving you, and like the feeling you had walking out was awesome. Assuming you had a good year, and in that day, you'd just be sitting and you'd be watching, right? Everyone go into the office, and you'd see on their face the second they walked out, right? If they were happy or not. So there was a certain level of just like genuine honesty among scumbags that I think was really cool. But yeah, yeah, 100%, Tony. Yeah, it was like living in a frat house, working there for a little bit. Yeah, you get a Slack message from Al or whoever was running the meeting that year. And you go in and yeah, you'd see the color drain from people's face. Yeah, it's a good time. At some point here, this autumn, I should be getting my last vested payout from Air Rain. So the last chunk of money that I had invested in the fund has been locked up for the last 7 years. It gets unlocked here in a few months, so I'm very curious to see how that goes. I have absolutely no idea what that number is going to be. So that's going to be pretty exciting to my last little bonus meeting. Yeah, it's awesome, but I had to say no to that money for 7 years after I quit. So it kind of holds you hostage. It's like why most people don't quit. They get stuck, right? Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna take any further trades. I have a rough idea. Like I had 260,000 pounds, give or take, set aside. So I would hope that would have doubled in that 7 years, considering like markets have done 20% the last 2 or 3 years. So hopefully a pretty nice number. Hey, if I just don't end up losing any of that bonus money, I'm gonna be pretty stoked. I will say though, probably when that hits into the bank account, that might be time where I take a little bit of a vacation. I might go do something fun. Officially closing a chapter, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I do have a holiday planned here in a couple weeks, so we'll enjoy that for sure. I've got a friend's bachelor party in Barcelona. So gonna go eat some tapas and probably drink a little bit too much wine. That'll be a good time. Yeah, 100%. Last time I was there, I was pickpocketed, so hopefully we have a little bit more successful trip. Oh yeah, I mean that's exactly where I got pickpocketed. Some pretty girl came up to me, tried to dance with me on the street in front of some busker, and I don't know, some guy must have come in and taken my phone, or she took my phone, whatever it was. Good times. Oh yeah, that's a classic too. I mean, I'm crude, Mike, but I'm usually not that crude. Yeah, I'm pretty glad we didn't try to chase that reversal, right? That wouldn't have worked out too well. I think at this point, team, I'm done for the day. I'm not going to place any further trades. Happy to be green. Happy to be walking away positively here, clawing back some of that drawdown, and a good little bounce back session here today. And this freaking keyboard, I might just have to go buy a full size one. This is driving me nuts. I don't. There's been a lot of comments asking for me to do it, but I just honestly haven't back tested trading gold. So, yeah, don't trade it at the moment. Yeah, yourselves a great day, team too. I don't, Ian. I'm not a huge crypto believer. My only stance with crypto here at this point basically is that it's like it's a benchmark. So if you can't beat it, you gotta buy it. But I don't like day trading it, honestly, because it's a little bit too available all the time. Again, like I struggle to shut off. Yeah, hopefully a strong finish to the week there tomorrow. I don't know. It feels like now that we've had 2 busy days in a row, or like 2 good trend days here to the downside in a row, market's probably going to just like slow down and shut up tomorrow, right? That's probably the reality. Or maybe that happens Jackson Hole on Friday. So we'll see how that goes. But no complaints. Good trading day here. Happy to be green. Happy to be bouncing back here a little bit. And yeah, I should be back to sort of being now one trade away from new all-time highs, which is pretty much exactly where you want to be here as a trader. So that's not anything to complain about. And yeah, we'll see how things go from there. So well done here, everybody. Congratulations on nice green days. Well done. Happy to be bouncing back like this. It feels really, really positive. And yeah, I've got no reason to do anything. What do you mean they closed your accounts? Oh, so they pushed you to Top Step X? That's annoying. Right, okay. That's annoying. So they specifically said that they were going to continue supporting it. What's very interesting is TopStep is seemingly adding in a feature where you'll be able to reset funded accounts. So if they end up actually pushing towards that, that would be a game changer. Like that would make dealing with Top Step X full time totally worth it. And allegedly, it's going to be free, so that would be pretty sick. Yeah. The Michael Patek or whatever, the CEO of Top Step, has been tweeting about it. Maybe it'll be like some add-on you have to purchase or something like that. But he's saying a reset of funded accounts would be free, which would be wild. Would be an absolute game changer. That's probably what he wants, yeah. Or to a certain extent, but for people who are like disciplined and structured, dude, it's going to be a cheat code because you might get some bad variance here and there, right? Like we had a bit this week, and you take a couple of days of drawdown. You don't have to give up everything, right? I think that's super, super positive. If you can have 2 attempts to get a payout, that's freaking awesome. Like just makes the game that much easier. So I know for people, probably the most frustrating process, I guess, that can happen with prop firms. They spend all that time passing an eval and then blow it right once they get to funded within 2 days. And so if we could remove that frustration, game changer. And I think just removing the pressure, I think for a lot of people would prevent them from blowing it too. So win-win, I think, across the board. All right, team. So I'm going to go final call for questions here. Final call for questions. I'm not going to do anything else. Stoked on the day. All right, team. So final call for questions here. Final call for questions. All right, sweet. So have yourselves a fantastic day. Really good bounce back day here today, team. Looking forward to continuing that momentum again tomorrow. But yeah, proud of us all here. Well done to everybody. Kiki, I think you set the high water mark here for everybody across the day at $2,500. So very, very well done. Fantastic trading across the board here, team. And yeah, glad to be back. Feel sharp, feel good, feel refreshed. And today certainly helped. So see you guys all again tomorrow. And in the meantime, everyone, have yourselves a great day, and we'll talk soon. Peace.